and welcome back. We're still taking this journey, and it is time for us to take a stop in the world of pets, in particular dogs. They say a dog is a man's best friend, and there's someone who is passionate about caring for these best friends of humans. He is the founder of Dog Lord Kennels, and today we'll be speaking on pet management with special particular reference to dogs. Ladies and gentlemen, Tobi Samuels is our guest for this afternoon. Hello, Tobi. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much indeed for coming.
Yeah.
Now, I have to talk about, I mean, they say a dog is a man's best friend. Is this true?
That's very true.
Okay, of course you would say that. All right, let's talk about percentage of dog owners in Nigeria. I know that in recent times, particularly because of pop culture, watching, more exposure to celebrities like the Kim Kardashians, it's become more fashionable to own dogs. Is this the case in Nigeria?
Yeah, it is. I would say it is. But from my own understanding about our country, basically, everybody looks at how to make money from this. So it's more about the economic value to most buyers than the love for it.
Really? For buyers? Well, how do you make money? What's the economic value of
Well,
dog?
if you ask most of dog breeders in Nigeria, they'll tell you everyone wants to buy a female dog, because a female dog will litter and they eventually get to sell. So for most people, the percentage of dog lovers are pretty much low to other countries in Nigeria.
So it's really for the commercial value?
Most people in Nigeria go for it for the commercial value. Not to say that there aren't people who actually buy for the love, but the percentage is lower than those who buy to make money.
So when they sell, do they sell to just Nigerians, or are there times when these dogs are taken outside the country?
Well, it's more of a professional service to move a dog, because there are regulatory laws, guiding shipping of dogs outside of the country. You have to have, like the export permits. You have to do it like a serological test. You have to have a complete, medical record of the dog. So that would not be so easy for, just anybody in the house who owns a dog.
All right.
So exporting dogs is basically for professionals in the field.
Right.
But generally, people buy female dogs, and then when they litter, they sell to other people who are interested around them.
All right, great. Now let's talk about different breeds of dogs. I know that we hear of Alsatians, we hear so many Labradors, but what are at least the common breeds that we see here in Nigeria?
In Nigeria, back in the days, it used to just be the German Shepherd and the Rottweilers. Now, we're beginning to...
We had Rottweilers? I thought it was mainly Alsatians.
No, we used
and the
to...
bingo dogs.
Now, we're getting exposed to other breeds of dogs, like the Chow Chow, like the Caucasian, like the Shih Tzu, the Lhasa Apso.
Yeah, Lhasa.
Yeah.
My cousin had a Lhasa, very cute dog.
Oh, really?
Are there special features that dogs have to for them to be classed or to be?
Yeah, dogs they are walking dogs. They are medical companions, right? And they are like toy breeds, like the Lhasa you mentioned. That's categorized under the toy breeds.
All right, so let's talk about them now. So you mentioned the medical dogs.
Yeah.
You mentioned toy breeds, and then you mentioned
the walking dogs.
The walking dogs.
Yeah.
What do they do? What are the specific functions?
Okay, like the walking dogs are used basically. They are trained for specific tasks, and some dogs have those traits already in them. Like the German Shepherd are usually used by the police department in most countries.
All right, so are they the sniffer dogs?
They are trained for that purpose.
Okay.
Dogs are trained to sniff. Some are trained to even sniff life. Like if you have like if there's an earthquake and a building collapses, when people are trapped under it, you'll have dogs that can sniff whether there's still, life present under the debris.
All right. Okay, so those are working dogs.
Those are working dogs.
They have to earn their keep. I hope they get a salary.
Oh, yeah, sure, they do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so we have working dogs, and you mentioned medical dogs.
Yeah, the medical companion dogs. Like, okay, I was watching a video off the internet, and there was a dog paired to a patient who had seizure, right? And the dog is trained. Those are medical aids.
Okay.
All right, they are companions, but they are medical aids. The dog is trained to understand that when the patient, has a fit, he needs to slide under the head so he doesn't hurt his head. So the patient that was paired with the dog pretended as though he was having, an episode of a fit. And so the dog went under the head so that it cushioned the head. So the patient was hitting on the dog's body. And he stayed there until the patient became, calm. And there are dogs that are pet to people who have impairment in hearing as well.
I know we've seen those who have impairment, with their eyes, with vision impairment, and so they are the guide dogs.
Yeah.
And those are the most popular
Same thing
ones.
with people who suffer hypoglycemia.
All right.
Yeah. The dogs would actually dictate when the blood sugar is dropping even before the patient knows.
All right. So what do? They bark, or is there?
They'll give a signal. It could be like barking like 5 times consecutively to notify the person that you need to get your blood sugar up.
Wonderful. The wonderful world of dogs. I feel like taking a piece of paper and writing and just listening. That these animals that we take for granted are actually such fascinating animals.
They are man's best friend.
Man's best. So apart from now, you've mentioned the 2. I know the third one seems like obvious, but let's just talk toy dogs.
Okay, these toy dogs, basically they require, little or no exercise. Running around the house is enough for them. And one mistake most people make is not understanding the breed they want to own. All right, like you have a very, very busy schedule and then you want to own a dog that requires a lot of exercise. You're going to eventually breed monsters. And that's what happens with people who breed dogs, and they now blame the dog's aggressiveness on the breed. Really, if you bred a child, I'm sorry to use an area, if you bred a child in Mushi, it's going to be different from a child bred, in Ikoyi. That's just about it. What you're exposed to on a daily basis, would form your value system and the way you act and react to things. Yeah. So a dog who requires, serious exercise, he has to go on long walks, and then you're owning that kind of a dog, and you don't have much time. The dog is going to have too much stored up energy. It's going to be very destructive. It could be aggressive and all.
It's just like having a little child around with no play area.
Absolutely.
So just all around the house catching things because you're not giving the person the opportunity.
And to add to that, in Nigeria, we just, most times, owning dogs here and keeping them is basically like having them in prisons. Yeah, we lock them up in the cage. That's not how dogs are meant to live.
They're meant to be out and about.
Dogs are meant to be out and about. They're meant to live in your house. They're a part of the family.
All right.
They're not meant to be locked up.
Okay, now some people say, yeah, you can put a Shih Tzu, you can put a Lhasa dog in your house, but a Rottweiler. A
Rottweiler, a Pit Bull, any dog is meant to, for as long as you're owning a dog, that dog is meant to be a part of your family. No mother will lock his child up in the cage.
All right, very well said. All right, so now I know you've mentioned a few of those things as we have had this, as we said, this conversation, but what are some of the challenges that dog breeders have, particularly in Nigeria?
Well, I think cost of feeding is a major challenge to dog breeders.
All right. When you say cost of feeding, people think, well, we just give them the leftover. We give them Indomie, we give them rice, we give them noodles, we give them party leftovers, bones and things.
There are actually things that dogs shouldn't eat.
All right, please tell us. I don't think many dog breeders know this.
Everybody just goes for the cheapest option. You cook rice or you get leftover and all. Dogs don't do well with salt. Dogs don't eat onions.
Really?
Yeah, dogs don't eat beans. And then, if you're getting remnant from the party...
If they eat onions, what's wrong with that?
Those could lead to organ failure in the future.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
It's a no-no for canines.
All right. So you said if you're getting food from a party...
If you're getting food from a party, you have mix-up of different things, You have the moi there, that's beans, you have eba, nothing is balanced. But if you're going to feed your dog properly, if you want to use the dry food, the nutrient the dog needs for the day is balanced in it.
Okay.
And if you have to cook for your dog, you have to specifically cook things, that goes with the dog system.
All right. Okay, we'll be talking more about this. This is very fascinating, and I hope you have been fascinated as I have as you're watching. But as we go on, we want to show you a video on 10 facts about dogs. I know Tobi Samuels has done a fantastic job doing this. But I just want to show you something, and when we come back, we'll be wrapping up the discussion with him.
By forming the back of their tongue into a cup, allowing them to bring large quantities of water into their mouth. Number 2. Spiked dog collars were invented in ancient Greece and were originally designed to protect dogs' throats from wolf attacks. Number 3. The wetness of a dog's nose is essential for determining what direction a smell is coming from. Number 4. Seeing eye dogs pee and poo on command so that their owners can clean up after them. Male dogs are also trained to do their business without lifting their leg. Number 5. Dogs don't enjoy being hugged as much as humans and other primates. Canines interpret putting a limb over another animal as a sign of dominance. At best, they understand that it's a sign of affection. Number 6. Dogs can see in colour. It is a common myth that dogs can only see in black and white, but they can actually see in colour, just not as vividly as humans. They only have 2 cones in their eyes to detect colour, whereas humans have 3. That means dogs can see in colour, but on a blue and yellow scale, and cannot really distinguish between red and green. On the other hand, they have better night vision than humans. Number 7. Dogs can smell disease. If your canine friend is acting strange, there might be nothing wrong with them. The problem could be with you. Researchers found dogs have an incredible ability to recognize the smell of a range of organic compounds that show that the human body isn't working as it should. That means your dog can actually diagnose cancer, as well as diabetes and the early signs of an epileptic seizure. Number 8. Dogs dream just like you. This won't come as a huge surprise to anyone who has watched their own dogs twitching or whimpering in their sleep. Dogs have the same brainwave patterns as humans do while we sleep, so they dream just like we do. But what is more surprising is the fact that not all dogs dream the same amount. Small dogs dream much more than bigger dogs. For example, a small dog such as a toy poodle may dream once every 10 minutes, whereas a Great Dane may have around an hour between each dream. Number 9. Dogs have 3 eyelids, an upper lid, a lower lid, and the third lid, called the nictitating membrane, which helps keep the eye moist and protected. Number 10. Unlike humans who sweat basically everywhere,
Dogs, only fantastic fact. I was saying to you that everyone needs to have a dog. Now I understand clearly why dogs are referred to a man's best friend. I just thought it was because they were very kind and they looked at time. But this is like, you need to have a dog at this rate. All right, so with regards to some of the top tips for looking at a dog, some people who are potential dog breeders shy away from it because they feel that it's too expensive, like you mentioned. It's very time consuming. For me, they're packing and cleaning up after them is so stressful. What are some of the top tips that is money, considering that we can use to help for dog breeders?
Okay. Number 1 thing is you need to have a poo and pee area. Okay, so you don't have to bother your head about getting, if you own an indoor cage, they usually come with a tray. There's a base and a tray. And then for some people, they have to buy newspapers, even when they don't want to read it, so that they can lay them in the tray. And when the dog, poos or pees, and that's quite expensive. But you could actually train your dog to go out and do his business and come back into the house.
All right.
And then in terms of feeding, you could, dry food, the imported food are quite expensive. You could reduce cost by cooking for your dog.
Okay. And
just understanding that there are some ingredients that shouldn't be in the food. Like I usually recommend rice and chicken, but when it's boiled, no seasoning should be put in it.
All right.
The chicken and the rice will be boiled from start to finish.
All right, so just boil it. Don't bother about their palate,
no,
whether they
at
will
all.
find it tasty or not.
Basically, dogs eat a smell, not taste.
All right.
So whatever appeals to their smell, once they smell it and it's good, and they think it's good, they'll eat it.
So why do they eat poo then?
Well, I wouldn't know about that.
Because they eat poo sometimes. Is it a hungry dog that does that, or just
no, it's not about it's not about the hunger. I think it's about what the dog is exposed to in his early life.
All right, okay. Now, thank you so much. We've had such an enlightening conversation. If you wanted to follow you, because I know you do dog training and you attend to dogs as well as other animals at Dog Lord Kennel.
Absolutely.
How can people contact you?
Okay, my Instagram handle is Dog Lord Kennels.
Okay.
At Dog Lord Kennels.
Okay.
And then the website is doglordkennels.com.ng.
Fantastic. If you want to learn more about how to breed a dog or how to take care of your dog, if you need someone you definitely want to talk to him, he definitely knows his onions, but do not give your dog onions, as we have learned today. All right, we're going to quick break right now, a news break actually. GPK is standing by and she will be bringing you details of what's happening in Nigeria and the world currently. After which we'll come back and DJ Don X is standing, waiting to sit on our sofa to have a conversation about him and what he's up to. See you soon.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, Press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.